Yes, we are live with another episode of Lamb Live. My name is Lamb. I am your host. Tonight we are joined by my guy Javon O. Stokes. Javon, how you feeling today, brother?
What's going on, man? I'm good. I'm enjoying myself. It's a good day.
For sure, for sure. Well, it's good to see you, bro.
Of
The
course.
first thing I want to say is that I really thought you had been on the show before. In the description of the video, I actually said like he returns for another conversation, but I was
I'm
on your show.
no, I'm almost positive. I was on your show before.
I couldn't find the video though. I,
It
I
might
was
have
looking.
been, yeah, it might have been older. It's been a while. It's been a
I
while since I've
I
been
looked
doing
through
interviews.
all my videos and did not see you on there. And I was like, I know
It might have been impromptu.
I don't think so, bro. I think I was on your show, and
Everybody's
that's what
on
I'm
my
thinking about.
show.
Yeah,
Everybody's on
yeah.
my
That was crazy. That was crazy. I'm like, yo, I thought he was on here. Anyway, but yeah, it's good to have you on here, whether it's returning or
Appreciate
if it's your first time, whatever the case may be. Before we get to the conversation about Javon's work, his comic books, Strong #1, that is soon to be released. It's not released yet. It's on the way to being released, right?
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
still in pre-orders.
We,
I'm extending it for another week. Well,
okay. Yeah,
this is
yeah, yeah.
the end of the week coming up.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, so we're gonna talk about all of that. But before we do that, if you're tuning in right now, please hit that like button, share this with somebody, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for being here and tuning in and listening to this conversation. And if you want to support the show, you can buy me a coffee. The link is scrolling down at the bottom. Buymeacoffee.com/Rolam. And I thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I think that's all the housekeeping. Javon, the question that I love to start with is what is inspiring you right now? What are you listening to? What are you watching? What are you reading? What is getting those creative juices going for you?
That is a really good question. What's inspiring me? So I get, of course, we're going to talk about strong, but what's actually inspiring me right now, and you're going to be the first, probably the first that I've said this to. I'm not sure if I said this on another one, but
Exclusive.
get that DJ clue. I am doing a horror graphic novel. That is
Yes.
going to be the next print project for me. I enjoyed Strong. Doing Strong was a lot. I will dip my toe back into the superheroes, but I really have been inspired by Obsession. I saw Obsession, the movie, loved it. I saw Backrooms, loved it. What was the other? Weapons is inspiring me. Sinners has inspired me.
Yes.
So all of these amazing, movies by incredibly talented directors, they got my horror juices flowing. I've had this project the first issue I had. It was supposed to be a series. Like I don't know if you remember a book called Preacher,
Oh yeah, for sure.
right? So I was big time inspired by Preacher back in the day,
Okay.
and I
Okay.
was like, I got to do my own Preacher. And I did this big sprawling, fantasy. What's up,
Yeah.
Danny?
What's good,
I
Danny?
did this really big sprawling fantasy horror with all this mythology. And then I'm watching all these movies and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just do one story. I might be able to do other things with it. I'm going to do one story. I haven't done a graphic novel since Heat the Black Flame, which was pre-COVID. That was a 70-page graphic novel. So I was like, that was like a creative test for me.
Mm.
And I was like, I want to do it again now that I'm better at. I think I'm a better artist. I'm a better storyteller.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna do a graphic novel. Don't know how long it's gonna be yet. Um, the idea is set in stone. I'm gonna say it here. So if you see somebody else with this story, this premise, they stole it from me.
Right.
Book is called Irreconcilable. It
Okay.
is about a newly divorced couple that have to work together to get their son's soul back.
Mm.
So I'm hoping I can have it out by October.
He already coming in here with the tough questions.
Man,
Danny coming with the tough questions.
Dan, you talking to the wrong person, man. You talking to the wrong person. I be free on Tuesdays. Say,
So
but
let me
yeah,
ask you this. So
so
speaking of
that's
the horror influences, what's inspiring you the most? Is it the story or is it the visual aspect of the horror that you're looking at?
I mean, it's always the story. Right now, like I'm watching a bunch of horror stuff. Like right now, I'm watching Midnight Mass. I'm rewatching Midnight Mass. Last night I watched. What did I watch? Oh, I watched something. I can't remember. Anyway, I'm mostly looking at the structure of how they do horror.
Mm,
And one of the things I'm learning is that horror is nothing more than real life with one thing off. It
mm,
could be supernatural, it could be, psychological, but it's real life, but one thing is slightly off, and it's like a car engine. When one piston is off, then eventually everything else starts messing up, and then the entire engine blows.
right.
So that's the way I've structured. Of course, my son got to go to the bathroom. Um, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at how they do horror. I'm looking at what makes horror good.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on one second.
You good? You good? Live TV, everybody. Let's look at some of these comments. My guy Danny says, uh, "Irreconcilable about to be a bequest book. That's a great concept. That's crazy, Danny. He already trying to steal my man's title. Um,
Danny, I don't want to hear about B-Quest, man. Y'all ain't invite me to the party, man. I'm still salty. Still salty. Couldn't even be bothered.
he said Bequest. He said I don't want to hear nothing about Bequest.
B-Quest, y'all ain't even invite me to the party, man. I was right there. Y'all talk to me every week. No, I'm joking. Honestly, I don't know. Like, I might pitch the book to other people. Shout out to Stephanie Williams.
Shout
When I
out to
told,
her. She coming on the show next week.
listen, tell her I love her, and she's doing big things. And she was one of the first people. She was one of the first people I told this. I actually told it to her. Was it last year when we were in Denver? She was like, "Let me know. I can show it to some people," but I wasn't ready. And I think now I'm very close. So, I might pitch it. When I get about 10, 15 pages into it, I might just pitch it. What's up, man? What's up, Kyron?
Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that. Um, yeah, I mean, I've been thinking a lot about pitching and like I want to stay indie for sure, but I'm also like I feel like it's good to have a foot in both of these worlds, right? Have like your indie stuff, the stuff you control and you own, and then potentially having things that you know what I'm saying is being pushed on a larger platform. So, but like you said, you got to get ready, you got to get
Yeah.
prepared. I've been talking to Dr. Sheena Howard.
I don't know her. I know who she is, but I've never
Yeah,
actually spoken to her. If I have, I don't remember, and I
yeah,
apologize
she's
if we did
she's
talk.
she's brilliant. Like she's doing incredible things. So I've been talking to her a little bit about that. Um,
I think she
just
was in.
as huh?
No, I was saying I think she was in Philly this weekend.
Yeah, yeah. Well, she live in Philly. Yeah,
Yeah, sore spot. Sorry for those that were at Fantasville, Philly, and if you were looking for me, I'm sorry. I'm gonna
yeah,
be there next year. I promise.
yeah. We had some difficulties.
Yeah,
You feel me?
some different. This is the
Um,
life of an entrepreneur, man. Sometimes
right.
things don't go right.
So let me ask you this question. Switching gears a little bit. How do you personally define creativity?
Man, Ro, you coming hard, man. I prepare. Creativity is just this. It's the. You know what? All right, don't steal. Somebody gonna steal this from me, but this might end up in a book. I would say creativity is just the soul talking to the brain.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
that's
Can you
that's
say more about that?
well
Expound on that.
because I feel like the brain is logical to me.
Mhm.
There's creativity in there, but I think your soul, your essence is is where your creativity and love and hate and everything, that's where it comes from. So it just filtered up through your brain, and then it comes out, and your brain just kind of makes it something. So it just distills all that information, all that energy, and then it puts it into something. It creates a vessel for it. It could be stories, it could be art, it could be song, whatever. But
Right.
the brain is just the organizer. The soul is the originator.
I love asking this question because everybody who's come on the show has given me a different answer. And I don't think any of these answers are wrong, and I think your answer is right. My answer is always I think creativity is problem solving. But I think that it speaks to what you just said, though, because I think the brain sees logically, okay, there's no way out of this, right? But then there's another part of you that says, maybe we could try this. I don't know if it's gonna work, but let's try it. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's where that creativity lives. It lives in that uncertainty that, I don't know what I'm gonna do now, but I'm gonna try something. You feel me?
Well, I agree, because and then I'm a Christian, so I also think it's God talking to us too. So to your point, I can think of so many times where
I didn't know you was a Christian.
I'm a Seventh-day Adventist Christian, man. Been a
that.
Seventh-day Adventist for.
Oh, you're a Seventh-day Adventist. I did not know that. Oh, wow.
25 years now.
Wow. Okay.
No, can't be 25.
Right. It's got to be longer than that, right?
35.
Yeah.
35. Don't do the math.
Don't do the math.
But yes, like you think about, there's so many times where you just hit a roadblock, like you said, and you're like, your brain is like, I can't figure out how to do this. And then it's almost like a spark.
Right.
And you could say that that's the brain doing it, but I think it's deeper than that. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even if you think about, sometimes they'll say, if you're working on a story, sometimes the answer is like, I'm gonna just put this away. I'm gonna go to sleep. And you go to sleep, your mind, or, however you want to put it, something is still working on it. Something is still, and then you'll wake up like, oh, that's what I should do. I mean, that's happened to me so many times where I don't know what to do in this point. I'm stuck on this, and I go to sleep. And then I wake up like, oh, I know exactly what to do. You know what I'm saying?
That's how Strong was born, man. Strong, and I've told this story before, but Strong started out as a different character altogether. And she was a supporting cast character for my other one, Heat. Y'all can get both of these books at visuallystoked.com. And I had her as a part of the story that I was working on, and I was okay with the story. And I've been saying this too, but the misogyny in me had her as a supporting character. But then the creativity in me was like, why she gotta the first time you see this character, she's she's propping up this man. Why can't she have her own character, her own story first?
Right.
So because of that, everything just literally exploded. Like the creativity part, like I scrapped the entire framework of the character. I think everything but one aspect of the character I scrapped.
Yeah.
And then rebuilt the character from, the ground up. And, now she's the star. And, and a lot of people love Strong more than they like Heat. And it makes me feel good because I know I can't speak for anybody else, but there is a difficulty writing a female protagonist as a male because I feel like I have to constantly check myself and be like, well, yeah, I as a guy would do it this way, but would a woman do this way? Would a woman respond this way? Would a woman, do this? So you literally have to shift your brain.
Yeah.
And it's not even like, because it's even a different shift for me than like a supporting. Danny has always been one of the.
He said, I'm one of those people.
He is. Danny from jump has been like, he likes Strong better. But even a supporting female character is a different mindset than a female that's a female character, woman character. don't yell at me if I'm using the wrong, y'all. But
Yeah.
it's a different mindset. And one of the things I really spend a lot of time doing is thinking long and hard about, okay, yes, I'm thinking like every piece of dialogue, I'm like, is that a guy talking or is that a woman talking? So
Yeah.
it's a lot of listening to the women, all of my female friends in my life,
Yeah.
and my female family members, just listening to how they talk and how they react and discuss with each other.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. I think that's so true. And I'll never forget. And I want to talk more about Strong, but I wanted to throw this piece in here real quick. A while ago, long time ago, I was on Twitter and there was an author. Her name is Cameron Hurley, and she was taking questions about just writing or whatever. She's a great author. And I asked her, how do you write strong female characters? And she said, write a great character, full stop. And I think you're absolutely right in terms of like there are things that we have to shift in our mindset, like when we're writing a woman character and we're thinking through things and what would they say, what would they do. Um, and I also think that advice that she gave was very freeing for me, at least, because it took the onus of like, oh, I gotta try to think like a woman, or I gotta try to like. It's like, no, look, let's just make a great character. Let's just create. You know what I'm saying, and then go from there. You know what I mean? Um, and so I think that really that helped me, and I think it for me at least when you were talking, it made me think about that. You know what I'm saying? Um, but
absolutely,
yeah, go ahead,
absolutely,
go ahead.
absolutely. No, I was agreeing with you. Absolutely,
Okay, cool, cool,
this
cool.
is great advice.
Yeah, so let's talk about Strong though. So you talked a little bit of how the book came to be, but what is the story about, and how did the project? Can you talk more about how the project came about?
Right. So Strong is a story of a former Olympic athlete who was involved in a tragic car accident with her alcoholic brother, and which rendered her paralyzed from the waist down. And in
Mm,
her her hospital bed, she was visited by an ancient cosmic force called the Essence, and the Essence gave her the ability to transform into this 6'2", 200-pound Amazon-like superhero who is the strongest superhero on the planet, but only for short periods of time.
mm,
So it's when you think about it, I tell people it's like a battery. So she can be strong up until a point, but she's got to go back. She's got to
yeah,
go back to being Kimura Sampson, who's her name. She's got to go back to being Kimura. She's got to go back to the chair, and until she recharges. And if she doesn't give it opportunity to, if she runs the battery out, she'll return back to Kimura maybe forever.
yeah, yeah,
And one of the things that I really wanted to do is I didn't want to put her, as a handicapped person in like a woe is me,
right,
frame of mind, because she's an athlete. So what she does is she just channels that competitive nature, into another endeavor, which is she becomes a social worker.
mm,
And that's kind of the gist of the story and where we go from there.
yeah,
But for those that didn't, read Strong Number Zero. Strong Number Zero was about her being basically interviewed and tag along with a reporter, and the reporter and her are learning each other, trying to figure each other out. They both have kind of, trust issues, and by the end of the issue, spoiler, cover your ears if you don't want to hear it. They kind of have a begrudging respect for each other, maybe even a friendship. But you find out that the reporter is actually an FBI agent uh, who's been tasked with getting information on her for the FBI superhuman division.
yeah, yeah.
This kind of
Um,
Strong Number One continues that story.
yes, yes. It's a great Zero was a great opener. Definitely, I'm excited to read number one and continue that story. One question that I wanted to ask you about, you know, with times are always difficult for Black women, in general. You know what I'm saying? Like there's always something that Black women are dealing with. Um, but I think recently we've seen, in the news, like even more things, have been happening that has been really challenging. I know for at least a lot of the Black women in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I just wondered, you created this story before all of the recent stuff has been happening, and so I just wonder what are some of the things that you want this book to speak to and say to and about Black women or women of color in general.
Man, there's a really big plot point, and I want to talk about like it would answer that question, but I don't want
Okay.
to ruin it for people. But there is one really big thing that I know Black women struggle with every day,
Mm,
and it is literally the central conceit of the issue. Uh,
mm,
and if I say any more, I'm going to ruin it. But just
okay.
know that I'm listening to y'all, to women, and I'm listening to Black women specifically and Latino women because Strong has actually had Black
Afro
hat
Latino.
Puerto
Yeah.
Rican.
Right.
So I'm listening, and the story is very much about an issue that Black women and Latino women of color deal with every day.
Hmm.
And I hope I handled it with some sort of grace and respect, and I'm hoping you all enjoy it.
Yeah.
I know I sidestepped the question, but I don't want to spoil the book, man. I don't
I
want to.
know. I know. Yeah. So what does success, not just with Strong, but just as a comic book writer, as a creator in general, what does success look like for you?
The joke I make about being successful in comics is I will feel successful when I don't have to stand up at my table anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When I can sit down and people just come to me
Right.
to buy my books, then
Right.
I'll feel successful. But I do feel, honestly, I feel successful right now.
Mm.
When I have people who actively ask me, okay, when's the next one coming out? Or I get a message saying, I love this book. I got so much feedback from Strong Number Zero that from people saying they loved it. I had a woman come up to my table. I will never forget this. And I was on cloud nine when she said it. She's like, you are a genius. And I was
Mm.
like, thank you. Nobody can tell me that for the rest of the day.
Right.
But I
Right.
do
Right.
think, I'm successful in that I'm doing something that a lot of people, um, I'm checking my hair, y'all.
Man, you
Um,
cool, bro. You cool, man.
I'm doing things that a lot of people are trying to do. I've already done. This
Yeah.
will be I think my 10th book. My 10th book, I've done 9 floppies and 1 graphic novel. So, there are, indie comic book creators that haven't done 2 books, much less 10.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very proud of how far I've come. And, I feel successful right now. Like right now, it's just what's the next level? Like what's next? Like
Yeah.
how can I push myself as a creator?
Yeah.
Which speaks to why I'm doing the horror graphic novel.
Yeah. For sure. And I think that's admirable, right? Like because it could be easy to, not stay hungry. My dad used to always say, like when I was playing basketball, he used to always say, stay humble and stay hungry.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
absolutely.
So it's like easy, you get a win, you do something good, it's like, okay, I made it, right? But the challenge then becomes, all right, once you get a little bit of success, what's next, right? How you
Oh
gonna
yeah.
keep that eye of the tiger, if you will? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not like it's funny. I had a conversation on Facebook, and somebody was talking about how indie books are in competition with each other, and we're in competition with Marvel and DC. And I'm like, I'm not in competition with nobody, man. I'm in
right,
competition with me.
right,
When I do a new book as an artist, I'm trying to be better than the last version of me.
right.
As a writer, I'm trying to be better than the last version.
Yeah,
So I'm in competition with myself. And if I keep trying to beat the previous version of myself and get better than that, then the gets a quality product.
right,
I feel better as a creator, but I never plateau.
right.
There are things in this book that I haven't done before. There are camera angles that I've never used before, Character designs I've never done before. Storytelling I've never done before. So I'm still trying to get better. I mean, I have a huge idea for something that I want to do, and I don't want to talk about it right now,
Yeah.
but it's going to push me even further as a creator. And I think as a creator in general, if you're not trying to be better than the last thing that you did, you might as well just stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I think that what's interesting about publishing is I think I understand the idea of competition, right? But the thing about books and comic books is that if you buy a book, like if somebody buys Strong, right? And they see something that they like Strong, they love Strong, and then they see something that's like Strong, they're not going to say, oh, but I already got Strong. Right. They're going to say, wow, I really like Strong. There's something like Strong. You're going to get that too, right? Absolutely. And so I understand the concept of competition in publishing, but I think it works a little different sometimes in publishing. You get something you like, you want more things like it, and you'll collect those things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have the wrong mentality, which then creates this antagonistic, community. And the truth is, there's more than enough.
Right, we can all eat.
Pie.
Right,
everybody can eat as long as you bring a quality product. You don't have to. I don't listen. I've stood next to Ro. All right, well, which way? This way. I've stood next to Ro at a Comic-Con. At no point did I ever think, man, Rose, he's stealing my customers. We did Dragon Con together.
Right.
And I've never, at no point, like, you had people coming to your table looking at your stuff, and they were, oh, what's this? And then, and the same thing, for me. So, like, the minute you start feeling like you got to compete with other people, to me, you already lost. Like, this is not the NBA. It's not the NFL.
Right.
Like, it's not sports. Sports is specifically, I'm competing to be better than you, to beat you, to win the prize.
Right.
We all can win.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, Scarlet Ranger gets big. That just brings more eyes to the other indie books. You know, Ace Blade, Lumberjack, Tuskegee Heirs. There's so many,
right?
Great books out there.
Right. Shout out to my guy Danny, always trying to stir the pot. He knows that me and Javon
have my interview
frequently butt heads over this, but I just want to say, for the record, artists are the most important part of the comic book process. My only argument is just that just because the artists are the most important part, the other pieces don't have to be belittled or treated like they don't matter to the process. That's my only point. That's the only point I'd be trying to make. So I don't know if you want to speak to this.
I don't disagree with that. Sounds fun.
I mean, it's a visual medium. You know what I'm saying? It's a visual medium. So
yeah. I mean, I had a really interesting argument with Victor Dandridge. Shout out to Victor Dandridge.
Okay. What does he call himself? The most
what's it? Hardest working man in comics.
Hardest working man in comics. Yeah.
He was trying to tell me how if you don't have art, you could still call it a comic book. And we had a really good debate in which he still thinks he won, but
I mean, off rip, I disagree.
You can have that with him.
It's very interesting to consider.
You can have that with him. I ain't trying to do that again.
Yeah, I might have to have him on the show to discuss that. That is interesting. Oh, Danny asked another question. Has the Essence chosen anyone else in your universe? So he's referring to the Essence that chose Strong.
Right. So the Essence is one of 4 Genesis powers. If you're reading, if you're a regular reader of Heat, you know that Heat is one of the Genesis powers. It's the illumination. And these powers crisscross the universe, choosing different avatars. The avatar dies, they got to leave, and they go to another host. So she is the latest host for the Essence.
So let me ask you this question, just sort of piggybacking off of that. As a Christian, how does you being a Christian impact the stories that you tell and the ways in which you create these world elements?
I mean, it depends. I've done really religious stories. I've written really religious stories, and then the my superhero stuff is so far from religion.
Okay.
To me, Jesus told parables. He told not true stories. So, untrue stories to make a point. And I feel like that's what I'm doing. I'm writing stories to tell a story, to make a point, to, emphasize something. So it doesn't really hinder me or anything. I'm not, because I mean, again, I'm Seventh-day Adventist and I love horror movies. And a lot of people are like, how do you reconcile that? And in
Right.
my head, I'm like, have you read the Bible? There's a lot of horror stories in the Bible. Like
Yeah.
it ain't all roses and sunshine.
Right.
But I reconcile it because I'm like, that's fake. I know it's not real. It doesn't influence me. Like, stuff gets scary, but it doesn't. I guess I'm a little desensitized, but it doesn't. I'm able to separate things in my head, in the different boxes. So yeah. Being a Christian doesn't really inform much unless it needs to.
Gotcha. Okay, so switching gears a little bit, one of the things that I really wanted to talk to you about, and we've had a lot of conversations about AI and the way that we as artists and writers and artists, creatives use AI, or what that looks like for the future. And so for people who don't know, I wonder if you could just talk a little bit about your thoughts and your stance on AI in the creative field.
Man, you really trying to get me in trouble today. For most that know me, I'm anti AI in the creative field. I feel like it's a crutch and it's a cheat. I don't need AI to write a script. I don't need AI to draw anything. To me, if you need AI to do any part of the creative process or you use it, you're cheating and you're stealing. I've been very adamant about that. I think part of creating something is the journey. I think the best way somebody put it, and I'm going to butcher it, but there are certain things, like, for instance, if you type into your prompt about the type of art you want, the page or whatever, it's going to pop out something, right? It's soulless, in my opinion, because when I sit down to draw, I do sit down with an image in my head. But through the process, I'll go, oh man, if I do this, then that will look cool. Or sometimes I'll make a mistake and it will literally make something cool, or it'll add something to it. And you don't get that with AI. You know what I mean? Like, it's akin to getting a home cooked meal and getting leftovers. If you make a home cooked meal, you talk to a chef. Sometimes they might put a little too much salt in it or not enough salt, and it might add a different flavor, or you know what I mean? Like, there's an art to it, and there's a journey that gets you from A to B that's important, because you don't know what you're going to get when you reach the end of it. You might, I need a script. You could put in a prompt, you need a script for such and such, and it'll drag the internet for stuff, but it won't come up with like a really, like, the whole thing about, you asked me what creativity is. AI can't come up with that. It can't come up with something like that. So I'm not really for it. If somebody gonna do it, I'm not. I'm at the point now where I'm like, I ain't gonna hold you, but don't ask me to don't ask for my opinion on it, because then I'll tell you. And I have friends that work in the AI field, and they are very adamant that I'm wrong in what I'm saying. And I'm like, listen, I'm not gonna stop you from doing what you want to do, but just know I don't look at you the same way as I look at an artist who doesn't use AI. I don't look at you as the same way I look as a writer that doesn't use AI. I don't
Yeah.
consider you an artist.
Yeah. I think you brought up food and you said you likened it to, what'd you say, like home cooked versus leftovers?
Yeah.
And I actually, when you said that, I actually thought about something a little bit different. So I thought about like a home cooked a home cooked meal with like real food. But the other day I saw this I saw this reel with this. It was like food. It looked like incredible, like breakfast food. And I'm like, yo, this looks incredible. And so then I started seeing the comments, and the comments was like, yo, I really thought this was real. Like, you got to chill out. I'm not eating none at your house. And it was this lady who makes like wax replicas, and all the food was just wax. And so she would like make it, and it looked like real eggs, real bacon, and then she would drop it like in a she dropped it in like fire or something, and it would just melt away. And I was like, that's what it's like. It's not even like leftovers. At least
Yeah.
leftovers is real food. It's just old. You know what I'm saying? It's just the night before or whatever. But
Right.
it's not even real. You know what I'm saying?
Real.
So I saw you make a post though, and you said, I should have pulled up the post to get the exact quote, but you basically said like the gist of the post was like, I'm tired of people saying we just gonna have to accept that AI is here. Like I'm tired of people saying that, right? And I wonder, when I saw that, my thought was, I mean, it is here though. Like it's embedded in everything that we doing. So I just wonder, when you say that, what do you mean, and what do you think should be happening?
So I mean, again, I'm pragmatic, so I understand how AI is a part of the the social media platforms that we use. It's even in my job, and like AI. I understand AI is here, and I don't necessarily have a giant issue with like certain things that AI
Right.
is involved with, because I understand it's a technical thing and a little bit beyond my ken.
You're
Uh,
talking about the generative
I'm
AI. That's what
talking,
you're really
yeah,
talking about.
generative AI.
Yeah.
When I say that I don't have to accept it, I'm saying if you make a book
Right.
that is full of AI generated artwork, I don't have to sit here and consider you to be an artist.
Right.
I don't
Right.
have to
Right.
just be like, well, no, I can be like, man, get this trash out of my face.
Right.
I can call you a thief. I'm like, nah, you're a thief. You didn't make that. You're not an artist. I don't care. You can call yourself an AI artist all you want.
Right. 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 Right.
That's like if that's like I could sit here and if I couldn't sing, get an auto tune, and and I can make a whole album with auto tune if I couldn't sing.
Right.
But ain't nobody gonna be sitting there like, man, that man is a great singer. They're gonna be like, no, it's auto tune.
Right. Right.
It's like it's auto tune. You ain't. I mean, listen. That's the difference between like a T-Pain and just a regular person. T-Pain can sing. He
Right.
just chooses to use auto tune.
Right. Right.
But like, if you can't sing, if you can't hold a note, and the only way you can make a song is the auto tune cranked all the way up because you're that bad, you're not a great singer. You're not even a singer.
Right.
So that's how I look at AI. You're not even a singer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I think, I mean, I agree with you for sure. I actually took it was like it was an AI filmmaking workshop, right? And basically the guy who was teaching it, he was basically just like, I'm going to teach you how to take an idea, use AI to go from idea to like finished movie. And for me, like I said, I wouldn't say I'm like super like anti AI, but I'm not one of the people. I'm not using AI for my stuff, right? I'm not sitting down putting in prompts to get scripts and art and things of that nature. So when I saw it, I just said, I'm just curious to see what that looks like. So I joined the workshop. Obviously, the first thing we do is we, quote unquote, write our scripts with AI. And the script that came out, the little premise or whatever that I had, boom, gave me like a 5-page script. and it was cool. You know what I'm saying? It was, it wasn't special. It was a script, and I was just like, I'm used to doing 10, 11, 12 drafts of a script. I'm used to knowing and feeling all the, like, I can look at something that I wrote. Like, I can look at Scarlet Ranger and I can remember where I was when I wrote parts of that script for that. And so when I'm looking at this AI generated script, I just felt so like disconnected from it. Like, I was just like, I don't know this. Like, it's not me. You know what I'm saying? And I had a friend one day, he told me, he said, "Hey man, I wrote this pilot script. Like, I want you to check it out. I want to do this. I want to get your advice." I said, "Cool, send it over." He sends it to me. I'm reading it. I said, "Bro, did you write this?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Bro,
He said, "Did you?
like, did you write this though? Like,
Did
come
you
on,
write
bro."
this?"
And he's like, "Well, yeah, I mean, I wrote it with, like, ChatGPT." Come on, bro. You ain't write it, bro. Like, just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no judgment, but just keep it 100.
Oh,
You
I'm
ain't
judging.
write this. You ain't write this. You know what I'm saying?
I'm judging for sure. No,
Um,
and even filmmaking is even worse because there are people who put out these stupid little trailers and like this AI. Oh, I made a film AI. Like there's so much involved with filmmaking that like you can't tell an AI generated, like all the AI generated actor can do is what you tell it. Whereas a real person could be like, well, what if I did the line like this?
right.
There's for those like for Obsession. We just talked about Obsession. The director was like, they had an ending for the movie that they shot, and then somebody, I don't remember if it was the actor, the actors or not. I think it was the actress. The actress was like, well, what if we did this for an ending?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he was like, all right, let's shoot it and see what it's like.
Right.
And then they shot it, and that's the ending of the movie.
Right.
You can't get that with AI.
Right.
And even if you do create a whole film and you look at it and you want to change the ending, you're still only getting the perception of one person as opposed to the team of creative individuals involved, like the actors who've embodied the characters. They might
Yeah.
have a different view of how they maybe, like, you could write something in your script and they might look at it and go, well, what if you did this? One of my favorite shows is New Girl. I don't know if you ever watched it.
I never seen it, but I know what you're talking
New
about.
Girl is hilarious, and a lot of the hilarity is because it's a lot of improvisation.
Yeah. Yeah.
They go off script. Some
Yeah.
of the best parts in the show are them off script. You're not going to get that with AI. Like, I don't care how you can't, unless you are able to generate AI that can think and create from nothing.
Right.
And if you do that, we are in trouble.
Yeah.
Because they're killing us all. AI is going to kill us all.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you feel about this, but I think when we talk about style, I think what we're talking about is really the way people break the rules. It's the
Yes.
way people
Yes.
say, this is the way that it's supposed to be done.
Yes.
And this is sort of
Yes.
what I do. You know what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
I think, like you're talking about with AI, I think that speaks to
have a
that,
style.
right? AI is not going to be able to break the rules. AI is going to, you give it the rule and it's going to do it. You know what I'm saying? And so you're not going to.
I try not to have too many like conversations on AI. It takes me down a rabbit hole, and I be on Facebook arguing for hours, and I just be like, all right, y'all, we are at an impasse.
Yeah. I mean, and I agree with you though. I agree with. I think the only, and again, we've had these conversations before. I think for me, when I have conversations with people, I think the only difference I have is I don't have like I'm not mad about people using AI. So like there was this woman like maybe like a year ago or last year, and she published like 200 books in a year, and all of them was written with AI. She made like 7 figures or whatever. And I was just like, I mean, I don't feel no kind of way about that. Like, I don't even feel like you're doing what I'm doing. I feel like you're just doing something completely different. Like, that's not, I don't know. I just don't have like I don't get mad about that. You know what I'm saying?
I'll call her a fraud.
Yeah. I'm just like, but she's not even a fraud because she's upfront with it. She's like, hey, I wrote these
You're
with
still a
AI.
fraud. You're still a
You know what I'm
fraud.
saying?
You're still cheating. I mean, if you cheat on the test and you admit to cheating on the test, but you still pass the class, I'm still not looking
And
at you.
that's an open book test. You ain't that's an open book test. You ain't cheating. That's open book.
No, that's totally different things. Totally different. If people are listen, if people are okay with that schlop, again, I'm not gonna hold nobody. I'm gonna keep doing
Exactly.
what I
Right.
do.
Right.
I don't respect the individuals using AI like
Yeah.
for generative art. I don't
Yeah.
have real creative respect for them, but I'm not going to burn down their house.
Yeah.
I'm not going to curse their children. I'm just don't bring it around me.
Don't bring around me. Right.
Don't bring
Exactly.
it around me.
Exactly. So let me ask you this. You mentioned your horror graphic novel that you're working on, Irreconcilable. Irreconcilable? Irreconcilable.
Irreconcilable.
That's gonna be good. I really like that premise, bro. That's gonna be I'm excited about that.
Working hard.
So you mentioned that, but what is outside of that, or even after that, what do you see next for you in your career? Like, let's say next 5 years, where do you see yourself?
I mean, hopefully, the next 5 years, Visually Stoked Media is a little more of a studio with employees. I have an idea that I've been telling people that I want to do. My mother, when she was alive earlier, when I was a teenager, she had a company called Jam Junior Art Makers. And the company was really her teaching teenagers how to be professional
Mm.
artists. And for years now, I've been wanting to restart it.
Oh, that's
So
dope.
that is something I'm still writing up the proposal for it. I'm going to start looking for grant funding. Ooh, excuse me, and start talking to schools about it because I want to do that. But I'm going to do different tiers. I'm going to work with teenagers, and then I want to work with kids, and then I kind of want to do with people actually in college. So I want it to kind of be. This is going to be a huge journey for me that
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to do. So I want Visually Stoked Media to grow a bit, and I really, 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 again, I'm a big film guy. I love movies. One of my biggest dreams is doing a short film.
Mm.
Um, I and I would. I'm hoping to do one in next 1 to 3 years.
Word.
Is do
Word.
a short film. As much as I love comic books, I will probably do less of them over time once I find artists to take over from me. I'll still
Oh,
do
okay.
the writing part of it, but like the art part,
Mhm.
I'm gonna start looking over the next year or two to find somebody to keep it going. And then
Mhm.
I just want to I like to create and I like to tell stories and I want to do, stories in any possible way. I want to write a novel. I
Mm.
have it, I have the idea. It's already not fleshed out, but it's in my brain. I don't want to
Yeah.
say what it is just yet.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
like I said, I want to do a movie script. There's a bunch of stuff I do. I want to do a cartoon. I actually started production work for a Heat cartoon.
Mm.
I've done turnarounds. I'm trying to do mood boards. I actually have the full script for the first episode. So I have a lot of things spinning. And hopefully, over the next few years, I can kind of get them out. But, I'm a one-man band. So, I try to take things one step at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so there was one question that I wanted to, or one topic that I wanted to talk to you about before we got out of here, and that was it's ended now, but the boycott and the DC so white situation. And I thought you made a really powerful video, just talking about, the overkill and the, where we really need to be putting our energy. So I just wonder, I just want to give you the space to talk about that and share that message, on this platform as well, if you wanted to.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Use a good word, energy, right?
Mhm.
We all have energy and we all use it and direct it in different ways. I I'm not gonna dog the guys that organized this thing.
Mhm.
I think their hearts were in the right place. I just don't. I think they didn't look at it from a business point of view. Like a lot of people,
Right.
I think when they think of like boycotts, they think, well, if we don't give our money to them, eventually they'll do what we tell them to do, which is sort of true. But you also have to understand the industry that you are attempting to take on. Being upset that DC Comics doesn't have and it was really super specific, which I also had an issue with. It was like they don't have a black character with an ongoing in the main DC universe.
Mm.
And I was like, yeah, but they got Absolute Green Lantern. They just dropped a milestone book this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're doing things with black characters. They're just not doing it by this super specific thing. But my point has always been comics are different than what a lot of people are remembering. I think a lot of people are stuck in the 90s. And when I say this, I mean this with all due respect. In the 90s, Darkhawk could go for 50 plus issues.
Right.
And it's not a thing. There aren't many books in Marvel and DC that's going for 50 issue runs.
Right.
Just it's not a thing. Like unless it's one of the mainstay legacy characters, it's not a thing. Like books just don't last that long. Like they just don't. So understanding that books don't last that long, one. Two, DC is actually, to their credit, putting stuff out. They've been putting stuff out. They had a Cyborg series. They had a Mr. Terrific miniseries. How many people was buying Mr. Terrific miniseries? Like their numbers are available. So I do think directing that energy at that super specific thing might have been a little misguided. But I also think there's so much black content available. Right. Why do we necessarily care what DC is doing or Marvel? And I love Marvel and DC. I'm a Marvel and DC fan. You can, if you look behind me, those are two bookshelves filled with Marvel and DC trade paperbacks. I love Marvel and DC. But I don't look to them to be the standard bearers for diversity.
Right.
When there's so many creators out here making books, good books, great books. We just brought up Stephanie Williams, Greg Burnham, Greg Elise, Michael Watson, Danny and Morgan, Kyron, yourself, Wally McNair, myself. I could go on and on and on and on and on. Afua Richardson. There's so many people who are cranking out great stuff. Why are we? I don't even think about what Marvel and DC do. If they decide to do something with a character of color, awesome. I tried to get the milestone book, but I missed it. It was sold out at my local store. You know, like, but yeah, there's so much. We don't need, if you want to see a static book and they're not putting static out, but you like static, holla at me. Come see Heat. Scarlet Ranger ain't that far. The same I keep pointing the wrong way. Scarlet Ranger is a young character.
We know what you mean.
Yeah. Scarlet Ranger is a young character, same vein. If you like Batman, if you love Batman, but you want to see a black Batman, pick up Ace Blade.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there are so many like alternative options for which I get so frustrated when I see people say, "Oh, I want a black Superman." Dude, you can find one. I want a black Spider-Man. Like Miles Morales is great, and I love Into the Spider-Verse, and I appreciate them for what they did. But there's so many variations of the archetypes that are available in the indie comic book scene. We shouldn't even care. Not that, you know what I mean? Like we shouldn't even care. So I appreciate what the guys were doing. and their hearts are in the right place, but the energy should be best directed towards propping up the quality books that we have. And if you want to send some shine to DC and Marvel when they actually do, when they do something, I'm not going to stop it. But there are too many black characters and too many black creators that are out here doing the thing that you want Marvel and you're begging DC and Marvel to do. Why beg? That's like me begging for food. This is gonna sound terrible, but I'm gonna say it anyway. This is like me begging for food at an only whites restaurant when I can go around the corner and go to a nice black restaurant that got probably better food and has exactly the type of food that I want.
Right.
Like if I like soul food, I'm not gonna go begging to the Italian restaurant. I'm gonna go to the soul food restaurant. I'm not gonna get mad at the Italian restaurant for not selling soul food. So we got to do a better job of not caring that Marvel and DC aren't providing the diversity that we want, because the diversity exists.
Yeah.
They will pay more attention. I promise you, Marvel and DC will pay more attention when you start putting dollars to all these black creators. They will pay more attention. Why you think Stephanie Williams is killing the game? They will pay more attention when you prop up these creators and these products. They will pay way more attention to it than if you sit around and wait for them to do something.
Right.
Or you go screaming and begging about blackouts.
Right.
That's it.
And to tag on to that, because DC and Marvel may not have that priority to have those diverse characters, we might not even like the way that they execute those diverse characters. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
all the time.
Yeah. So
they
it's
ask
like
for a book, and then the people complain about the book.
Right.
You want Superman? You like Superman? You like Wonder Woman? Pick up Strong.
Right. And then the other thing too, when we think about knowing how the business works, and you think about publishing schedules, you boycott, you still might not see whatever it is you're looking for another 2 years, another 3 years, because it's going to take. Publishing is a slow process. You know what I'm saying? But I agree with
money, and you're taking money out of black creators' pockets, because there are Morgan Hampton, like I said, Stephanie Williams,
right?
Greg Burnham has done work. Dennis Cohen is doing work. Howard is doing work for DC. Like, you're taking money out their pocket, man. Come on now.
The other challenge that I would say too, and I know you're not saying this, but this is just something I thought about when you were talking. I think that it would be good for us to not necessarily be just looking for the black versions of what's out there, right? When you look at Roots of Madness by Stephanie Williams, you look at, I just read Hammer by Greg Elise, right?
Great book.
Like Tuskegee Airs, right? It feels like wholly original things that's not just the copy of
absolutely
what's already out there, So and I agree with everything you said, man. I think what we're looking for is already out here. And so we don't have to go begging DC and Marvel to do the thing. We can do the thing, and we are doing the thing. You know what I mean? So man, I appreciate you for coming through, Javon. I got one last segment.
Okay.
It's 5 questions. It's called The One.
Okay.
So the first question is, what's one book or comic book you think everyone should read?
Wow. I'll say comic. One book. Mine. Strong number 1.
Talk to him.
Strong number 1. Read that. There you
go. What's one piece of advice you would give your younger self?
All right, I'll say the other one. I'm not gonna say the one. Okay. I would say do what makes you happy. What makes you happy will make you money. If you focus on that and get as good at that, you'll be fine.
Okay. What's one word that you would want to describe your legacy?
Fearless.
What's one thing that you would change about your creative journey? I know what you're gonna say.
Okay.
I know what you're gonna say.
My creative journey. I wouldn't have tried to get a job out of college.
Oh, I didn't think you
I
was gonna
would
say
have
that.
just
Go ahead.
created my own business
Yeah, yeah,
from
yeah.
immediate. I would have started my own business. I would have started my business in college. That's
Yeah,
what I would have done.
yeah, yeah. That's a good one right there. Like the business side,
Yeah.
that's a great answer. And then the last question is, what's one thing that you would want everybody who hears this or sees this to take away from this conversation?
That strong number one is can be pre-ordered right
Give
now.
me free on. Yeah.
Hey,
What's the
get
website? Visuallystoke.com.
visuallystoked.com. You can
It's
go
in the it's in the description of the
Instagram.
video.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
you can go to
yeah.
my Instagram, which is visually stoked. You can go find me on Facebook. If you go to visuallystoked.com, you can easily go there. You go visuallystoked.com/strong. That's what I want you to take away.
For sure, for sure. Man, Javon, I appreciate you for coming through tonight, kicking it with me, having a conversation. I definitely appreciate the work that you do for the community, the work that you do. You know what I'm saying? I know you've given me a lot of good advice and a lot of good knowledge and wisdom on, just the way the business works and the way this comic book industry works. So I appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you.
Thank you so
Thank
much for coming through. To the audience, thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for liking this video, sharing it, subscribing to the channel. I will be back next week with another episode. Stephanie Williams, I think, is next week. So that's gonna be cool. That's gonna be exciting to talk with her about everything that she just announced another
you.
comic, something with
Yep.
Shaq today.
Yeah, Shaq.
Um
Big
Black
time.
Caesar. Black Caesar. Yep, yep, yep.
Big time.
So yeah, that's gonna be cool. So anyway, I'll see y'all next week. Thank y'all so much for coming through. And as always, I love y'all.